everybody, how's it going?
Hey
guys.
Welcome, you guys. Hi.
Hey y'all, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
Hey,
Happy Fossil
everybody.
Day.
Woo, happy Fossil Day.
And Fossil Day.
Great, guys. So, hi, everybody. My name is Brainy Beth, and I am a dinosaur trainer at Jurassic Quest. And today's a very special holiday for me and my dino squad because today is National Fossil Day, right? So we are so excited to be bringing this to you guys. And just a reminder to our mama and papa sauruses out there real quick, just to let you know, for today only, you can go on to JurassicQuest.com and you can actually purchase tickets at a steep dino discount of 25% off whenever we migrate to a city near you. So be sure to go ahead and do that as quickly as possible. And you can also sign up for our final Fossil Day session, but you have to do it 1 hour in advance. So be sure to go on for our last one of the day. So right now we're actually doing Dino Show and Tell, which is one of my favorites. Just a reminder, you guys are all on mute right now, but we can see everything you're bringing to the table. So we can see your toy stegosauruses, we can see your plushies, we can maybe even see some cool rocks or fossils you found in your own backyard. But I actually have something of my own, right? So yesterday, Extinction Zelly and I had the incredible privilege of going to see one of my favorite fossils. So we went to the Field Museum in Chicago, where I picked up this journal, right? And do you guys know what fossil is at the Field Museum in Chicago? I'm going to be really impressed if you do, because it's kind of a big deal.
Does she have a girl name?
Oh, yes, she does. And actually, they don't know whether she was a girl or boy. Park Ranger Marty looks like he might know.
Well, she's got a girl's name, but we don't actually know for sure.
Yeah, we don't know. Yes, that's right. So it is Sue, the T-Rex. Yes, so she is sensational. She's actually taught us a lot about dinosaurs in general, especially T-Rexes and theropods like them. And she's actually still there, you guys. So that's why it's so vitally important to be able to discover fossils. It's because it teaches us so much about science. So without any further ado, I know that you guys are just dying to see some of our other items by some of our other dinosaur trainers and fossil experts. So I'm going to turn it over to my very good friend, Prehistoric Nick, the fossil expert. What do you have for us?
I'm Prehistoric Nick, the fossil expert. So really excited to show us all kinds of things we have here, including some real fossils. And I also want to introduce my my friend Extinction Zelly.
Hi, I'm Extinction Zelly. It's so good to see all of you, and I'm so glad you were able to join us here for Fossil Day. Now, that being said, I know there's some other dinosaur trainers that also want to show off, so I'm going to pass it off to Safari Sarah as well.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Safari Sarah, and I'm also a dinosaur trainer with Jurassic Quest. Now, I'm super excited to talk about my cool things that I have here. Now, are we just doing introductions, or should we get into the meat of it yet?
Introductions for now, I think.
Okay, well then, hey everyone, I can't wait to show you guys all the cool things I have to show. And I will turn it over to, let's see, how about Dino Dustin?
Well, hello there, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you here celebrating fossils on National Fossil Day with all my friends from Jurassic Quest. And I don't know if anybody has told you, Jurassic Quest is a touring exhibit that holds so many cool dinosaurs. These dinosaurs range for all the periods. And not only dinosaurs, we also just have some prehistoric creatures, which you'll find out more about because some of them are some of our favorites. So I can't wait to show you about that, but I hope that you guys get a chance to come to Jurassic Quest. So I want to introduce you to one of my good friends and a smart guy is Prehistoric Nick.
He's Dustin.
What was that about?
I thought it was supposed to go to me. And I was like, oh, he's calling me a smart guy. But
Oh,
no,
you are
back
very
to Nick.
smart.
Not
Courage,
quite
Marty, you
yet.
are smart. You can't always be the smartest. Come on.
I talk to someone else at some point.
So-
I think it was going to Sarah first, but
I actually already introduced myself.
Oh.
So prehistoric
Oh,
Nick. if you
oh,
wanna
you're right. Okay, I'm so sorry. So hey, everybody. So one of the coolest dinosaurs we have at Jurassic Quest is a dinosaur called Therizinosaurus. Now, Therizinosaurus has the longest claws of any dinosaur we know of, or any animal that we know of. Those claws can be over 2 feet long, and they had huge arms that could extend way past their head. And one of the coolest things I have with me is this Therizinosaurus claw. Now, this is a cast. Oh, and Park Ranger Marty has a Lego model of a Therizinosaurus. So Therizinosaurus is when they first found it, they thought it was actually a sea turtle, but they later realized that it actually was a theropod dinosaur. Now, most theropods are meat eaters, and for Therizinosaurus, we actually think they're herbivores, although we're not 100% sure what they ate because we don't have their skulls. But we do know that Therizinosaurus's relatives, most dinosaurs in that family, were herbivores. So that tells us a lot we can infer about Therizinosaurus. Another
And
thing I have.
one of the cool things about Therizinosaurus, you said they thought they were turtles. The reason for that is all we found were their arms. So all of this, everything else is basically based on other animals that we found. So we've used those other animals to fill in the blank. By the way, I'm Park Ranger Marty, and you guys have so many cool things I can see out there. You've got so many awesome things to show, and you may have questions about your dinosaurs. So please use our chat, or I think there's something that says ask questions, and we will answer your questions throughout as well. So especially at the end, we're going to really focus on your questions. All right, Prehistoric Nick, what else did you have?
Oh, so since they thought it was a marine animal, one thing I happen to have with me, so speaking of marine animals, is this ammonite. So this is a real fossil that I happen to have with me, and this is a ammonite from the Jurassic period. So ammonites lived before dinosaurs. They died out with them 6 million years ago at the end of the Cretaceous period. This one is from the Solnhofen deposits from Germany, which is the same rock sediment that they found Archaeopteryx, which was one of the first dinosaurs we discovered with feathers. So this is one of my pride and joys in terms of fossils. So if you guys have stuff that you want to share, mention in the Q&A and talk about it there. Meanwhile, I'm gonna go to Extinction Zelly. I know that she has something really, really cool.
I actually have a few really cool things, and they really relate to what me and Brainy Beth saw yesterday at the Field Museum. So
wow.
I have baby Tyson in my hands. I do have another thing of a famous dinosaur and a famous T-Rex that we have already mentioned. So I have something that Prehistoric Nick actually sent to me, and I recently painted, and it's a 3D printed model of Sue the T-Rex. Now she looks a little bit squished, but that's because she's modeled after her still being in the ground, and her skull is actually put along to the side so that people can continue to study them, because it's so studied so often that it can't be put up just with the rest of the fossil. And as a really cute side bonus, I have a picture of me and Brainy Beth in front of
That is so cool.
Absolutely. Now, I know that was a few of my own, but I think Dino Dustin has some really cool things to show off as well.
I do. One of those cool things is staring right at you right now.
Hi,
This-
Cammy.
It's Cammy the Camarasaurus. She is so cool. She's one of our 3 baby dinosaurs that we have. Cammy is so playful, and I'm surprised I still have my hat on right now because she has a habit of taking it away from me sometimes as a joke. But she's really sweet, and she likes good salad. She eats way healthier than I do. So I do admire her for that. Do you guys know what she likes to eat? Could y'all take any guesses on the things that she likes to eat? Let me hear it out there, or you can
So
put it
we're
in the chat.
waiting for
and
some
see.
responses.
What are some of the responses in there? Do we see any? Oh, I can see some piling up.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yes,
Good
you
job,
guys are
guys.
right.
Very
Definitely. She is a plant eater. So Cammy is eating plants and veggies, apples, oranges, and even spinach and kale. And I know that sounds like it's not that great, but for her, it's very tasty and delicious. So Cammy is one of the things I wanted to show you, but also um, I, of course, am a fan of dinosaurs, being a dinosaur trainer. And so one time my friend, a close friend of mine, went to Mexico on vacation and brought me back something really cool. Do you guys want to see?
Yeah.
Yes?
good.
Okay, here we go. I got this T-Rex that someone handmade out of
Oh,
cloth.
wow.
Doesn't it look cool, guys?
It's really pretty.
And it's really cool and decorative. And I think it's cool because, people love dinosaurs all over the world. It's not
Yeah.
just me and it's not just you guys. So it's just something cool that people are making their own dinosaur arts and crafts. And this is just a few ways you can do dino art. A scientific way you could do dino art is something called paleo art. And that's something that's really cool because what paleontologists do is they use the information from fossils to draw up what they believe dinosaurs really looked like way, way, way back then. Another thing I do want to show you too is something my friend Prehistoric Nick gave me. It is a 3D printed T-Rex skull. So obviously T-Rex skulls were not this small. Thankfully I have it so I can travel along around with it. But this is really cool because it gives you the dimensions and you really get to feel like and see what the T-Rex was all about. Well, at least his skull. So I think this is really cool. But it's not all about my stuff. I do want to pass it on to Safari Sarah and see what else she's got over there.
Hey guys. Well, I have some really cool things to show, but I'm going to start off with the smallest. So my friend actually is a geologist and he goes on digs and he's actually brought me back some coprolite before. Now, I'm sure that some of you guys know what coprolite because little kids love to joke about this stuff. So yell it out if you know what coprolite is. Yep, you guys are right. It's fossilized dinosaur poop. And thankfully, I don't have that to show today. It would be kind of stinky. Instead, I actually have this little triceratops that's made out of stone that he also got made at one of those dig sites. And he got it made for me because it's one of my favorite dinosaurs.
Oh, wow.
Now, I also have some other cool stuff, and these are actually a lot softer. We have some little stuffed animal buddies, and I see a bunch of stuffed animals out there, so I want to show these guys off because I have two guys here, and they explain a very good lesson about dinosaurs, which is what makes a dinosaur a dinosaur. We talked about this in some other sessions, but for instance, a T-Rex, his name means tyrant lizard king, right? Prehistoric Nick?
That's right.
Because of that, a lot of people think that they're lizards or reptiles. But whenever we look at how their legs are displayed, you can see that it goes out and down on the sides of his body like this. Whereas if it was a dinosaur, it would actually look kind of like this chicken and its legs would go straight out from under his body. But they would also have something called an acetabula in the hip. But that goes directly underneath him. Did you know that the chicken is the closest living relative to the T-Rex?
Wow.
Pretty crazy, huh? A lot of people know that one. I'll give you that. But did you know that alligators share something with dinosaurs too? Because I know someone in this room whose favorite dinosaur is Ankylosaurus, Dino Dustin, and I'm
That's
sure
right.
some other people out there too. Raise your hand if Ankylosaurus is your favorite. Nice.
Oh, nice.
Well, those guys have osteoderms, just like alligators and crocodiles have on their backs. So we love to point out things that they're shared, even though they're actually not alligators, and those were around at the same time. Now, my very last item that I have to show off is this megalodon tooth. Now, this is actually not a real fossil, although it is a perfect replica of a real fossil. But this is what we call a cast. Now, these are a lot of times at museums, but we also have them at Jurassic Quest, as well as real fossils. But the process of making a cast is super, super cool. And what they do is they make a mold of the bone, and then they fill that in with plaster or any other material that they would use. And that's what makes a cast. Now, because of that, I'm able to go around with this and point out the cool ridges on his teeth, the serrated edges, or even just how big it is, especially if you compare that to the size of a tooth of a regular shark and what you would wear on a necklace. You can tell that this would have belonged to a very, very big prehistoric animal. And you can see that animal if you come out to Jurassic Quest, because we have over 165 million years worth of dinosaurs, but we also have an ancient oceans exhibit. And there we house a 55-foot megalodon. And that's not even full grown. We think that the top estimates are at about 70 feet right now, which has recently been updated because they used to say they only went up to 60 feet. Because we only have cartilage from sharks and teeth, we don't have the bones to show just how big they got. So it's all kind of guesstimation, but isn't all science until it's proven? Alrighty, well, I think that I will actually turn it over to Park Ranger Marty. What do you have to show?
Oh my goodness. So you guys are all making me so jealous because Sarah's got really cool teeth, not just in her face. She has a pretty smile, but no, she's got cool megalodon teeth to show off. And then everybody's talking about Stu the T-Rex. So I want to combine both of them and show you one of Sue's teeth. This is a T-Rex tooth. And this one's got the whole root and everything on it. This one's almost 12 inches long. This is a really big tooth. Now, in life, you'd only see about that much sticking out of the gum line because all the rest of this is up there rooted in the jaw and the gums to hold it in place because they believe that T-Rex was biting down with somewhere between 8,000 and 12,000 pounds per square inch.
Whoa.
The best bite force of any dinosaur. Now, if you guys have any T-Rexes, hold them up. Hold up your T-Rexes. If you have T-Rexes, show me those T-Rexes.
Oh, wow.
Those are awesome. Oh, I love those T-Rexes. Those are so cool. All right, give your T-Rexes a hug. Everybody needs to give a T-Rex a hug. Oh, I'm giving my T-Rex a hug too.
I think we actually have one of those at the fossil table, which is actually at Jurassic Quest as well. So if you come to Jurassic Quest, as Safari Sarah mentioned before, you can see some of our fossils at the fossil table. And I think we have a replica of Sue's tooth there at the fossil table as well.
And it's not only just a tooth, we even have one of her claws as well.
Yes.
Now, the next thing I want to show you guys, since I got to show you a big meat eater, I want to show you a plant eater. And this is one of my favorite figurines. Can you see this? This giant thing here is supposed to be a Brachiosaurus. Now, for a while, they said, well, Brachiosaurus, they live in North America and they live in Africa. And I was like, how did they get so far apart? But now the ones that look more like this that lived in Africa are actually identified as Giraffatitan. But both of them are in the same family as Cammy. Did you know that, Dustin?
I did not know that, Park Ranger Marty.
Yeah, these are all what we call macronarian sauropods. So most of them, you'll notice, have the little bump thing on their head. If you look at Cammy, her nose is kind of in a strange position too. It's not as big as this. Yeah. So all of these guys are the macronarian sauropod dinosaurs. And these are some of the largest animals that we've actually seen.
Dang, I can see Audrina's Brachiosaurus plush. That's a really cool plush, Audrina.
Hey, Park, Marty, is the Apatosaurus a part of that family too?
Actually, Apatosaurus is in a different group of sauropods known as Diplodocus. Or Diplodocus, if you want to say it that way. So they're the ones, you'll see with the macronarians, their heads go more straight up. So they're more high browsers. So they're going for the tops of trees. Whereas these guys, their necks are a little angled down, so they're mid-level browsers. And there are some, like in the Girasaurus, that actually have their necks, mostly their heads are angled almost towards the ground, which means they're probably actually grazing. And when you're this big, you don't want to spend a whole lot of energy taking in food because you've got to eat a lot. So you want to use as little energy as possible. So you don't want to walk everywhere. So they think they can use that long neck, stand in one place, eat a giant arc of food, move one step forward, eat a whole nother giant arc of food. So that makes these guys not have to move so much. So the calories that they get are not being spent as soon as they get them.
Wow.
Really, really cool.
And we have some
Yeah.
great questions in the Q&A. Like Hannah Brown asked, are there certain areas in the world that have more fossils?
Ooh, good question.
Yes, that's a really great question. In fact, earlier this year, I actually got to travel with Extinction Zelly and Brady Beth to Alberta, Canada. So Alberta has some of the densest bone beds of fossils all throughout the world. There's lots of places all over the world that have lots of fossils, like places like the Gobi Desert has a lot of fossils, as well as certain parts of South America, Europe, and Northern Africa. So there's really dinosaur fossils that show up everywhere.
It's true. Speaking of the museum in Alberta, the Royal Tyrrell, that is where I got my tiny pterosaur necklace. I don't know if you guys can see that, but yes, Quetzalcoatlus is one of my favorites, although technically not a dinosaur. They are a type of flying reptile that did coexist with some of our dinosaur friends. And you can see a Quetzalcoatlus at Jurassic Quest.
Yeah. Now, we also had two really interesting questions that I think someone may know here. And those two questions were, the first one was, what's the fastest dinosaur? And the second one was, what is the longest dinosaur?
Wow, very good
So
question.
I'll take fastest.
Okay.
So fastest
the
dinosaur
TDT?
is gonna be something like this. This is a representation of an ornithomimus. So the ornithomimus, or the bird mimic, there was a whole group of them. There's Gallimimus, but ornithomimus is one of the ones that is thought to be the fastest, with speeds somewhere around 40 miles per hour. In movies, they've like, yeah, they get to cheetah speed. No dinosaur was that fast. They're just not built that way. They don't have that flexible spine that's making them go super fast like that on all fours. But they were pretty quick, definitely a lot faster than you or I. So velociraptors actually probably got to about 30 miles per hour, which is still pretty quick.
That's part of why the ornithomimus is one of my favorites. I actually posted a video of one on the TikTok today.
Nice. Oh yeah, you guys and parents out there, if you guys want to actually keep up with education, fun, cool things, and all the awesome things we learn about dinosaurs, you guys can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and you can just follow us at Jurassic Quest, and you'll find cool stuff like videos about ornithomimus or Science Sundays, Wednesdays, all kinds of other stuff too. Now, someone asked, how long is a brontosaurus's neck?
Oh, that's a really great question. So I know that dinosaurs like Brontosaurus could get to be about 70 feet long, or sauropods, which is the family of long-necked dinosaurs. So its neck would be, for a really long-necked dinosaur, would be about a third of its body length, give or take. So somewhere a little over 20 or 30 feet, depending on how big the individual is. And to answer the other question about the longest dinosaur, I believe the longest dinosaur right now on record, although that changes from time to time, I believe the longest is a sauropod called Mamenchisaurus that was found in China.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah, with a lot of those bigger dinosaurs, the sauropods, we don't find just the whole articulated skeleton. That's what all the skeletons together and everything. We don't find that. We find little bones and pieces of them, and then we have to estimate from those how large the other animal, or how long the rest of the animal would be. So a lot of those weight estimates and length estimates can be off. So as we get more information, then we learn more.
We have two questions, and I think maybe our dinosaur trainer could answer that for us. And the first one is, why do T-Rexes eat meat? And the second one is, do T-Rex hiss like a snake?
Ooh.
Well, T-Rexes, we believe, ate meat based off of their really strong bite that could crush down on bones, as Park Ranger Marty mentioned earlier, and their sharp teeth also help them crush bits of meat and things like that, as well as their claws that grasp onto their prey.
And what is that called? Do you guys know? Maybe y'all could yell it out and we could see if y'all know the name for meat eaters. There it is. Good job.
Good
They're
job,
carnivores.
guys.
And the last question was, did they hiss like a snake? What are you thinking, Stinky Kelly?
Tyson, do you hiss like a snake?
I think that's a no. Now we do have another question. Let's see. Someone asked, how long did the dinosaurs live?
So that's a really great question. Oh, yeah, I'll get it. Okay, so that depends on if you mean how long each individual dinosaur lived or how long they were around for. So
How about let's do both?
yeah, so dinosaurs were around for over about 165 million years. So the first dinosaurs show up in the middle of the Triassic period, and the last dinosaurs go extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period. So that's a really, really long time. Now, in terms of how long they live, it depends on what type of dinosaur we're talking about. So dinosaurs like T-Rex, now the oldest T-Rex with the oldest age was a little bit over 30 years old when it died. So T-Rexes, well, they could live for a stretch of time, but they didn't live that long. But some sauropods could live, are estimated to live about 200 years or so. So it really depends on what type of dinosaur we're talking about.
200 years for a sauropod?
Depending on the species, yeah.
Well, Nick, that's weird because sometimes people say dinosaurs are flying around today. What is that? What could that mean?
Oh yeah.
That's absolutely, so that's a really great question. So so technically dinosaurs aren't extinct. There's still one group of dinosaurs we have around today, and we call those birds. See, birds are classified not just as descendants of dinosaurs, they're actually classified as a subcategory of dinosaurs. So the same way that a cow is a type of mammal, a bird is a type of dinosaur. So that means if you guys go outside today, you can still see dinosaurs like robins, sparrows, hawks, falcons, turkeys, ducks, and so many more. So actually that changes a couple of our answers. So technically, I guess that makes the fastest dinosaur the peregrine falcon, because they've been clocked at diving at over 240 miles per hour.
Wow.
That's not fair. It's flying.
That is true. That is true. And technically, they can only fly that fast by diving. So really, it's just falling.
See, when you enter birds into it, then you get all sorts of strange dinosaur facts. Like the smallest dinosaur is a hummingbird. And if you've ever looked online, here's something that's a little scary and creepy for you. But there are sometimes praying mantises that will hang around hummingbird feeders. They will reach out and grab and capture a hummingbird and then eat it, which means there is an insect that can capture, kill, and eat a dinosaur.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Killer insects.
Well, yeah, there were actually some really, really big bugs around for certain eras in prehistory as well, right? Park Ranger Marty, Prehistoric Nick, like
yes,
the
definitely
10-foot centipedes.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
There were definitely a lot of larger ones, and it's a lot of the way they breathe is the reason for that. The way they breathe, the lower the oxygen levels, the smaller they have to be. So at times in our history when the oxygen levels were higher, insects can grow larger.
Nice.
Wow.
A really, really fun question that we can all do together, and that is from Eli, and he asked if anyone can do a dino roar.
Ooh, I love that question.
Maybe on a count of 3, we can all roar together.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you guys ready?
All
Ready.
right, guys.
1, 2, 3.
That is awesome. And I did want to shout out some people because I see people holding up their dinosaurs. That is so cool. Donovan, we saw that you wanted to show off your dinosaurs. We saw May and Nathaniel. Hi, guys. We see y'all's cool dinosaurs, or that Triceratops. Some people are asking for so much stuff. Linda, we see your stuffed Triceratops and your toy Indominus Rex. Those are so cool, you guys, and we love them. The questions that are coming in are really, really good. Now, someone wanted to know, I had a really good one, and it was actually a good question because we were talking about other things that are prehistoric, but are not technically dinosaurs. Someone asked if a bearded dragon is related to dinosaurs.
So once again, bearded dragon is not going to be a dinosaur. It's a reptile in a different lineage. And one of the key things you were talking about is where you have the acetabulum, and all animals have acetabulums, but where that hip bone fits in, if the legs are directly underneath, it's more like a dinosaur. Or if it splays out to the side, it's going to be a reptile, not a dinosaur. Also, the acetabulum, if it's not open, there'll be an opening in the back. If it's not open, it's not a dinosaur. So those are key features that dinosaurs have to be classified as a dinosaur.
And some people asked if a T-Rex would be green and brown because that's the color that their toys are. Now, Dino Dustin, do you think that a T-Rex would be that color, or what do we know about that?
You know what? As I've read some books on paleontologists discovering and thinking about dinosaurs, they think if they were gray, it would be easy for predators to see them against pretty leaves and foliage and plants. So they believe that dinosaurs, like a lot of birds, were camouflaged with different colors and patterns. And so most likely the dinosaurs we know will probably have some cool patterns on them and not just gray like elephants.
That's awesome. So guys, however colorful your dinosaur, we don't know for sure. So you can keep dreaming because I like the colorful dinos.
It might be your favorite color. Who knows?
Yeah. Now, somebody asked if Indominus Rex is real. And I think this is really important to bring up, and the whole reason why we have things like Fossil Day and Dino Day, and why it's important to learn about dinos. You can see it in Park Ranger Marty's screen. There's a little Indominus Rex Lego, and that's just as real as the real one, because you guys, I'm so sorry, but that's just on a movie. We have certain types of dinosaurs that are used what we call creative license whenever they're in books or TV shows or movies. And that's because they want to make them look as cool, big, and bad as possible. But the truth is, all dinosaurs are cool already, and they're cool as heck, man. So we love talking about them and telling you guys all about the real dinosaurs that are just as cool, like Giganotosaurus, or Therizinosaurus, which was also a movie star recently. And I saw a question where someone asked why they have such long claws. We see that in Park Ranger Marty's too. Brainy Beth, do you think you could tell us why they had such long claws?
Yes. So the theory at this time is that they would have been herbivores, right? So that's the most current theory. And their claws were the longest of any known animal, right? So they believed that it was actually to take their claws and reach way into the tops of trees and pull them down to their mouths, right? So you still wouldn't want to get in the way of those claws. And those are some pretty big claws, but they weren't necessarily used to attack. They were more used to eat plants. So it takes the fierce edge off of the Therizinosaurus, but I think he's still a pretty tough looking guy. What do you guys think?
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think so.
I wouldn't want to cross him, that's for sure. I mean, children with long fingernails are hard enough. A dinosaur? Come on. You guys remember to clip those nails.
And one of the questions we have is Kanoa said, what's the oldest thing you found? What's the oldest fossil? So some of the oldest fossils ever found are bacterial stromatolites. So I actually happen to have an example with me here. There's another show and tell fossil I have. So this is a formation of basically a bacterial mat. But now this one's probably not that old, but some of them have been dated in the multiple billions of years. So some have been dated back to about 3.7 billion years.
Wow.
You know what?
Wow.
There's a cool question that I would like to know that Lottie has asked. And I think it's a good question. It says, why do dinosaurs have such hard names to say?
That's a good question, actually.
A lot of the dinosaurs are actually, the names are Latin. So they like to give fancy scientific names to animals. So A lot of the Latin names are a little bit hard for us to say because it's mostly a dead language at this point. Also, some of them are named after individuals that find them. Some of them are named after the locations where they're found. Some of them are named in different languages. So that's why our mouth has a hard time saying it. Like Gianchaosaurus is always hard for me to say. So in the United States, we typically just refer to it as Pinocchio Rex.
Nice. Someone asked if the T-Rex and Spinosaurus lived in the same time period. What's our answer on that?
They didn't live at the same time period, although they did live in the Cretaceous, T-Rex and Spinosaurus, but in different parts of the Cretaceous. So T-Rex lived the very, very end, only between about 68 and 66 million years ago, whereas Spinosaurus lived about 100 million years ago. So there was a little over 30 million years between them.
Also,
The
they
cool
were
thing-
opposite sides of the planet, because Spinosaurus aegypticus is named after Egypt, where it was found, and the T-Rex is actually found in the Western United States and up into Canada.
The cool thing about Jurassic Quest is they're right next to each other inside our exhibit. So they're living at the same time when you come to our event.
I see a really, really good question. So Corinne asked, do we know how long individual dinosaurs might have lived before dying of old age?
Oh,
And we
that's
did
very
go over
good
that a
question.
little bit earlier, right?
So to answer again, so some dinosaurs like T-Rex they've dated to about a little over 30 years for the biggest and oldest specimens. Now to be fair, if you were to take a T-Rex and put it into a zoo and took care of it, you might be able to get to last longer, because animals in the wild don't always live as long as ones they're taken care of, because we can treat them for disease and take care of injuries. But yeah, so some of the biggest sauropods, the longest sauropods, the big long-necked dinosaurs, they believe that they were able to live for over 200 years or more. That's because they're so big, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put energy into a big animal if you're only going to live a few years. So these really, really long sauropods, there's evidence suggests that they can live, in some cases, over 200 years.
Nice. Ooh, we got some really good questions. The first one I think is an easy answer, and then the second one is a really fun answer. The first one is what are some dinosaurs that are omnivores?
Oh, that's a good
you guys
question.
know what an omnivore is? We know that a carnivore is what eats
Meat.
Yeah, good job, meat. And then we know that an herbivore eats
Plants.
plants. Good job, everybody. So an omnivore eats both? Do we have any dinosaurs that eat both?
So there's some evidence that some dinosaurs like or some hypotheses that dinosaurs like Ornithomimus might have been omnivorous in some cases. Some scientists also think that Therizinosaurus could have been an omnivore, since we don't have its skull. And there's also some speculation that even some dinosaurs like Pachycephalosaurus might have even been omnivorous. So some of the teeth in the front of Pachycephalosaurus's mouth sort of resemble the teeth of carnivorous dinosaurs more than plant-eating dinosaurs.
Nice. And we had a question actually that asked if an herbivore had sharp teeth, would that make it a carnivore? So I guess that kind of answers it. If anything, it may make it an omnivore if they had sharp teeth but still ate plants.
Or
like our
sometimes
teeth.
sometimes animals like camels are strictly herbivores, but they do have sharp teeth as a biting weapon. So not always when you see just a few sharp teeth, does it mean it's an omnivore or a carnivore? Sometimes it could be just an herbivore with a few sharp teeth.
That's really smart. Now, the fun question that we were asked is, Sue is a famous T-Rex in Chicago, which we know of. But are there any other famous dinosaurs?
Oh, yeah.
Big Al, the Albertosaurus.
Yep. We also have Joe. I think he's a Parasaurolophus.
And Stan the T-Rex, of course.
And the T-Rex. I think there's also Bitty or Bit. There's so many different ones. Actually, how about you guys? If y'all know some famous dinosaurs that we're missing and their names, How about you put them in the
Yeah,
chat?
there's a Big John the Triceratops.
Yeah.
Hey.
And also there's Lane the Triceratops.
True.
I
Well,
know
we do
3.
also we
I
have
know 3.
at
He
our
is a
fossil
really
table,
famous
we've got
dinosaur, isn't he?
yeah, we've got someone said my grandpa.
Oh.
Yeah, just like Marty. They say the same joke, Marty.
And then our
Dinosaur.
famous 3 baby dinosaurs, Cammy, Tyson, and Trixie. They're
Right,
famous.
That's true. That is very true. They are very famous.
Yeah,
We
along with
actually have
Stan the
some-
T-Rex, you can actually meet those at Jurassic Quest. Now we've got a skull of Stan the T-Rex at some of our exhibits at the fossil area. And then of course we have all of our babies that you can meet. And another one, a really big dinosaur that's got a name is Dippy the Diplodocus.
Oh.
Nice. I love that. Now someone asked, how can we tell if a dinosaur is a girl or a boy? Do we know
So,
the difference?
so that's a great question. So we don't always know. In a lot of cases, we can't tell just from the bones. But sometimes we actually are able to make some good guesses. So, for example, with some dinosaurs like T-Rex, for a long time, scientists noticed there were 2 different what they called morphotypes of T-Rex. There was what they called the robust morphotype and the gracile morphotype. So some T-Rexes they noticed were a little bit thicker and beefier looking, and some of them, while still being really muscular, some of them were a little bit more slender. And for a while, sometimes even thought they might even be two different subspecies. But then they noticed a few years ago, somebody discovered that there was actually evidence that one of those robust ones actually had been ovulating. That means it was making eggs. So they actually started to theorize that the robust ones were actually females and the gracile ones were actually males. So with T-Rexes, the girls were actually bigger.
Oh yeah, they were, baby. Mwah, mwah. Love that. And
Nice.
actually, there's a really easy one that I can answer by reading it. And someone asked, how do we correctly pronounce Parasaurolophus? And everybody together, how do we pronounce that?
Parasaurolophus.
There we go. And then someone asked, how many dinosaurs were on Earth? Now, I'm sure we don't have an accurate estimate, but we learned a very cool fact today, and we talked about it a few times, and that's how many dinosaurs actually fossilize. And based on how many fossils we have today, we should have a good estimate of that, right?
Well, it depends. So they say 1 in a billion organisms fossilize, but dinosaurs that are larger might fossilize a little more often than that because of how thick and big their bones are, whereas other animals that are a little smaller, they might just be more likely to be taken away by erosion.
Right.
Now, we have named about 1,100 different dinosaurs so far, not including the 10,000 species of birds that are on the planet right now. But we've only just began. It's just a drop in the bucket for how many dinosaurs there probably actually were.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting answer. Thanks for
Although
that.
there was a recent study, a recent paper that came out that estimate that during their life or during their span from about 68 to 66 million years ago, there were at least several billion T-Rexes. So and they estimate there are about 20,000 of them alive at any one time. So if you were to go back in time in any given year, there probably would have been roughly about 20,000 T-Rexes, and over the span of their entire existence, there would have been a few billion of them.
That's incredible.
Yeah, which is a lot. Now, and that's just one species now. And with carnivores, there's usually a lot fewer carnivores in any given environment than there are herbivores.
Nice.
I think I saw
now,
a really
someone-
good question.
Yeah, and actually there's one that I don't think we've covered yet today. And so I need to draw attention to this one. And it says, what do you think killed the dinosaurs? And this is very important when talking about dinosaurs, right?
I'm gonna cover Cammy's ears right now.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry.
the
Sorry.
best theory is still a giant asteroid hitting the Earth about 66 million years ago on the Yucatan Peninsula. There's a space that you can see from space. There's a big crater you can see from space called the Chicxulub crater. And so the Chicxulub asteroid would have hit the Earth, would have thrown ash and dust up into the sky, blocking out the sun for years. Without sunlight, plants don't grow very well. So all those plant eaters that needed those plants, they died out. Then the meat eaters that needed those plant eaters to eat they died out, and it left just the smallest animals to actually eke out an existence. And animals like alligators and crocodiles that were also alive that only needed to eat like maybe once or twice a year, they managed to survive. Some of the ones that could hibernate. Now with dinosaurs, at the end time of the dinosaurs, there were very bird-like dinosaurs. Some had teeth in their beak, some had just beaks with no teeth. The ones with teeth in their beak were hunting live prey, and they didn't make it. The ones with beaks that could eat seeds and plants in their undeveloped form, and maybe insects, those were able to make it. And that's why the birds that you see today don't have teeth.
Nice. Now we are wrapping up, we're going to start doing this now because our prehistoric time period needs to come to a close eventually. Get ready for our bedtime stories. So let's answer just a few more questions, okay? Now let's see. There is a question that says, what was the first dinosaur discovered? And although I don't know that one for sure, I do know that they didn't think it was a dinosaur at first. Right, Dino Dustin?
That's right. If I'm not mistaken, was it Ichthyosaurus?
It
Or
was
So yes,
Megalosaurus.
yeah. Well,
the
first prehistoric reptile discovered was Ichthyosaurus. They discovered that in the very early 1800s. That was found by Mary Anning. So the first dinosaur fossils that were identified as dinosaur fossils was iguanodon. So they found iguanodon fossils, and then a year or two later, they discovered some more fossils, which they named Megalosaurus. So Megalosaurus actually got its name. So technically, Megalosaurus was the first named dinosaur, although the bones of Ichthyosaurus of iguanodon had been found a couple years before that.
Oh,
Well, now we've identified bones from back in the 1700s that were found that actually we believe belonged to Megalosaurus. So in a way, Megalosaurus was the first dinosaur found. We just had no idea what it was.
Thought it belonged to a human giant.
Yep.
Now,
They actually thought it belonged to a giant.
Now there's a question that says, are Triceratops born with all their horns? And I would assume that the answer to that is yes, but those horns would grow longer and longer as time went on, because that horn has a bone inside of it. But there's actually layers that build up around it, and it's called keratin. And that's the protein that makes up our fingernails and our hair. And that keratin, as the years would go on, would build more and more layers and make the horns sharper and sharper. So although they were born with them, at the end of their life, they were much bigger than the ones that they were born with. Now
they would have started off with little nubs, basically, and then they would, as they got older, you're right, the inner bone core would grow, and then the keratin on the outside would also grow.
Let's go through some of these questions then. So people asked, movies portray T-Rex as really territorial. Do they maintain a territory or travel while hunting? And that kind of goes along with the question where someone asked if they were scavengers.
So honestly, we don't know. From finding bones, you can only tell so much about the animal. It is possible, being a large animal, that it was territorial. However, they would also partially be scavengers. Now, we know that they did hunt other tyrannosaurs. We found evidence of them actually hunting live prey. So T-Rex most likely hunted live prey. But if it came across something dead, it's going to chase the other animals, or if another animal killed something, then it would come and just chase them away and eat that as well. And it had a really good sense of smell, but it couldn't travel that far. So it probably maintained some territory, but we don't know exactly how territorial it was.
Okay, well, how about, were there any dinos in the Arctic? Do we know that?
Oh, yeah. So there are some dinosaurs like Dromaeosaurus, like raptors. They have found raptor teeth in parts of northern Alaska, but also in the other direction, in Antarctica, we also have a few dinosaurs too. Somebody earlier in the comments challenged us and said, hey, I bet you don't know about Cryolophosaurus. So Cryolophosaurus is a dinosaur, a carnivorous dinosaur that lived in the Jurassic period of what's now Antarctica. So there were dinosaurs even in both the Antarctic and the Arctic circles.
Whoa, that's a really good question and answer. Now, somebody asked, where can we find dinosaur fossils? And Brainy Beth, would you like to answer?
Well, my answer would be, and correct me if I'm wrong, Prehistoric Nick and Park Ranger Marty, but you can find dinosaur fossils anywhere because there were so many dinosaurs spanning all the continents, and they were around for about 165 million years. And even as Park Ranger Marty mentioned before, only 1 in a billion creatures fossilize, right? Approximately, give or take. And also, we're discovering new things every single day. So one could be in your backyard for all we know.
Brittany Beth is right. We actually do find dinosaurs on all 7 continents. Now, there are certain spots that at the time the dinosaurs were alive, like Florida. If you happen to live in Florida, raise your hand. Well, if you do, you won't find any dinosaurs there because it was underwater at the time of the dinosaurs. So you might find marine reptiles, but you most likely won't find any dinosaurs.
Yep. Well, these are some really good questions, you guys. If any of our panel has any questions they would like to answer, lastly, we'll close out with that. But I think that we need to start gearing up because our baby dinosaurs are looking pretty tired. Do you guys think so too?
Yeah.
Definitely are.
Okay,
They're
well,
getting very sleepy. And I think if you guys want to learn more about dinosaurs, we have so many resources for that on a Jurassic Quest social media. On Facebook, you can see Fossil Fridays and Science Sundays and What's It Wednesdays, videos that we make every week so you can learn more about dinosaurs. And for those really tough questions on dinosaur show days, which are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can text us at 844-DINO-411 and I will answer your tough dinosaur questions directly.
yep. Now, everybody, our very last session is bedtime stories. So if you haven't signed up yet, parents, make sure you register within the next 8 minutes because an hour before that session, we'll actually close our registration. So if you don't get in there, you won't be able to attend it. And we definitely want all of your little dinosaurs to come and share some Z's with us as we share some stories. Now, as Park Ranger Marty said, you guys can follow us online at Jurassic Quest on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, but you can also use a discount that's Fossil Day. That's the discount you can use today for any upcoming city tickets. As long as you purchase them today, you'll get 25% off, parents and kids out there. We also have fun things like activities online. We have even coloring sheets. So if parents, you go to JurassicQuest.com/Fossil Day, you can download some free coloring sheets so the fun never has to stop with Jurassic Quest. We're so excited that you guys could all be here for National Fossil Day, and we have 1 session left, and we cannot wait to see you guys there. So make sure you sign up, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for joining.